Carroll O'Neal is a longtime Johns Island resident, a farmer, and an entrepreneur, but he's concerned about South Carolina House District 116's future. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with Carroll as he's running for South Carolina House District 116. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. My. It's been, what, 2-3 years of trying to get you?
Busy man.
Yeah, I know you are.
But this time we made it after 2 failures first.
Wow.
And so this time, and then I didn't think you were going to show because I was a half hour early.
Yeah, you know how it is around here, traffic and everything in town.
And then you said, park in the garage. I said, okay. I hadn't been on that end of St. Philip's in a while, so I parked in the cathedral parking lot, so I saved $5. So I don't think our bishop will think.
But here we are, Carroll O'Neal. You are a Republican nominee for South Carolina House District 116. What is it like for you to be a candidate?
I love it. I used to sit back and scream at the TV. Every time I read something in the Post and Courier that I felt someone could have done something, I did. So one night my wife had enough. She says, "You've never been one to sit back. Why don't you get up and do something? Run for office. Make a difference." And you know, I thought about it, and I decided to go on a Republican boat cruise. And John Steinberger came to me and says, "Why don't you run for House Seat 116? I said, "Well, honestly, I have no clue who my legislator is in that area." And they explained it to me, and I said, "Let me think about it." So I walked around the boat just a little bit. I came back, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to go for it." And that was the start of it right there. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. And when I ran the first time,
Right.
I was beaten by, goodness, maybe 1,000 votes. The second time, I was already almost declared winner. And so we went home that evening, and my wife woke me up at about 4 o'clock in the recliner and says, "I think you better look at TV here for just a second. There's a check mark going against income." And I said, "That can't be." So this time, things are looking very good, but you can't take that for granted. People have to get out and vote. I have a lot of friends all over the world, not just in South Carolina, but in my district, we have so many new conservatives that moved in. And when I walk a district and I ask, "Have you registered to vote?" the answer is 99 out of 100, yes. But what they failed to tell you, and I've learned to ask the question, I'm registered in Ohio, I'm registered in Spartanburg, I'm registered in California, New York. The thing is, get with them. They know they can go online to register. We usually carry registration forms with us with our door hangers and whatever. And I like to try to convert that other party in with my party. And a lot of times people tell me they're going to vote for me, even though they might be Democratic, because they don't believe in really their party or my party, but they say they vote for the man. So I do understand that. There's a lot of things, Quintin, that needs to be changed in our area. My opponent's been there 16 years, the incumbent. He's not a bad guy, because had he been, he wouldn't have been there 16 years. But I don't want to make a lifelong business as a state legislator. My gosh, 3 times, 4 times max, that's 8 years. And then, you know, either you're smart enough to move up or you become Speaker of the House, or you want to run for something a little bit more, such as your governor, or you want to run for state senator or federal senator or what have you. But right now, there's so many things that need to happen. For instance, I had people calling me when Irma came through. what can I do? I said, have you called your representative? No return phone call. So I said, what's your concern? We don't have any shelter. I did not know there was not one shelter in Charleston County, not one. Well, anyhow, I couldn't get our governor on the phone at that time because he was assessing things that were going on and working with the first responders and what have you. So I called Alan Wilson. Alan, I had his cell number, and I said, Alan, I need some help here for these people calling me. I got people calling me crying. He says, Carroll, I'll get FEMA to call you right away. FEMA calls. Well, what happened in your area was the county school district did an assessment, and they decided that the school that we had used before, Hot Gap, which we just spent millions of dollars on renovation of, was not safe for a hurricane. And my bad comment on that was, why in the hell do we send our children there? I was getting very serious at this point. First, and then he said, here's what we can do. If they can get over to Citadel Mall by 9 p.m. tonight, we'll take them to Orangeburg. Quintin, as you well know, in my district, there's a lot of poor people. Some of these people have circulation problems. They can't ride hardly from Johns Island to the city hospital. And and they have nowhere to go. You certainly weren't going to ride Carter all the way over to Citadel Mall. And I told him that this is really unacceptable. I got somebody else that'll call you back and tell you what to do. I got a call. Well, this is not really my district. I'll have someone else give you a call. It was not their district either. I totally exploded. Things like that should have never happened without the public knowing we had no shelters here. None at all. And I believe as a legislator and even county council should have come out with that. It should have been announced on the news, all over social media. That's just one of the things that's happening. We've talked about 526 and they're saying, okay, we can do it again. You know, it's $400 and some million that'll be given by SIB. But I want to know, and I'm saying, yes, we're going to have 526. Yes, we are. But we have 2 lanes to get off of Main Road, 2 lanes to get off of River Road, 2 lanes to get out of Guatemala Island. How are we going to get out? And then when 526 comes, and I'm in favor of that, where are we going to dump into? We're going to have 2 lanes eastbound and westbound, I-26. So you can reverse a lane for a while, but it can't be anything like hit Panama City, Florida. We've got to be able to turn around and think outside the box a little bit. I feel like people on the planning zoning boards need to get an education from people who have watched a metropolis grow. And that's what we have here at Charleston right now. Okay. It's total metropolis. Every time I think about that, I think about Superman, you know, in the metropolis. Well, that's what it's going to take, is a Superman. Somebody that carefully plans this thing. The other is growth. County council, city council, the mayors have got to turn around and slow this growth. If not, put it out for some addendum for the voters to vote on. I guarantee you, everyone in my area says, enough is enough. Do you realize that in our area on Johns Island is the last rural area we have in Tri-County that we have actual farmers that are working? It's a sad situation. As a kid, I grew up downtown, and when I was 13 years old, our parents moved to East Cooper. But it used to be a pleasurable ride to ride on Johns Island and see all the potato farmers, the cabbage, and the collards, and people, You know, I talked to some of the old timers over there that's been there all their life, and they say that, you know, if we saw 2 cars in one day, this was a miracle coming down through here. And now, when I go up to some of my fields to plant, one of my fields is only a quarter of a mile away. I'm afraid some of these Mercedes and Rolls Royce and Vets and Jags and Porsches are gonna run over me on my tractor. I mean, scared to death. Usually if I can, I'll get somebody to follow me with a truck with flashing lights. But even that's not a safeguard, because they'll flip around the truck and almost run me into a tree or whatever they might do. The growth, I mentioned 6 years ago, and you might hear what I said. I think somebody on the county council was trying to get credit for it. I'm not trying to get credit. I remember what was said, and so does everyone else. 6 years ago, I said, let's 4-lane from Betsy Carrison all the way out to 17 with a flyover. But there's a big but here, because they got to do a flyover with a cloverleaf. Then I want to widen 17, because if you've ever been on it in the mornings or in the afternoons, you have to remember you went to church Sunday. I promise you. You wanna. So I can go from Hankel Marine to 162 and 17, add 2 lanes and a turn lane, and put a cloverleaf there. A cloverleaf. Then we have federal funds coming from Highway 17. It's not local funds where county council's got to come up, city council's got to come up with the funds on this thing. And you know, that's the other thing, the half-cent sales tax, half-cent. I'm sick of it. They said they didn't really say anything about 5.26 cents, but yeah, they're gonna use it. The gas tax, this is another thing that really blows me away. Maybe 20% of that money that's supposed to go to repair our infrastructure goes to it. What usually happens is, it looks to me as, whoever's got the most money and got the most power in politics is the one who can get it, because they can use pork barrel projects all day.
Well, let me ask you this. Who has the money and power when it comes to House District 116?
Oh, there's a delegation, a group. I'll give you an example. Okay. It didn't come but last night. They asked him, what do you feel about gun safety in Iraq? Well, I don't really feel like anybody should have any guns at all. I mean, this thing's gone to a limit. And I jumped up and I said, yeah, like Chicago. I said, this is a gun-free zone. Only 37 people were killed there today. That there's power in the other party, and that's how it's done. It's power in the other side of the party, and it works on both sides. I can't just say it's the Democrats that do this too. It's been done in the Republican Party as well. I thought at one time we were getting rid of pork barrel type projects going on. It doesn't look so at all. All the millions of dollars we're spending, for instance, and this is, I don't know of any time that I've really actually seen any action where legislators work with county council or city council, which they should, because, you know, county council gets blamed for everything, and they just spent $33 million, which is going to $35 million on the Naval Hospital out there.
When you look at that Naval Hospital project, what should be there? How would it help the House District 116 constituents, in your mind?
Well, I don't know how much it'll help us, but I know it'll get county council out of a lot of problems. Being a contractor myself,
Right.
bulldoze it, and he's all about this. Let's turn around and make a gated community there, where we have not just shabby condos that you see thrown up by developers, but I mean nice condos, tennis court, that'll make people want to go in there, that'll make more money than the $35 million that they have blown on the deal. So what? If they make only $20 million, they made money rather than to lose all this money. The longer that sits, the worse things are. You know, they were gonna move all the county offices in there. I didn't ever think that was a very good idea in the first place. However, you know, the people to be, county council, saw other things to work other ways. But I honestly believe if you demolish that place and build some really ritzy places in there, they would sell. They would sell. And sellout time, I'm not looking at it to happen in a year's time. I mean, we're probably looking at 5-10 years down the road.
And you know, let me go back to county council, because obviously you were talking a lot about that in
Yeah.
this particular interview. If you are elected to South Carolina House District, House Representatives, that is, how will you, Carroll O'Neal, work with county council? Say Anna Johnson or whomever is going to be reelected, or
Well,
Joe Boykin,
that's right.
or Jenny Honeycutt, or whomever.
Joe Boykin happened to be a personal friend of mine, and
Okay.
he's doing a very good job running against Anna. Last night before him,
Right.
it was there. You know,
Right.
we had that libertarian gentleman, I can't remember his name, but
Oh,
he's from James
Milligan.
Island. Yeah, Milligan, that's right. I think he more agreed with everything Joe Boykin said that was on there, and was more about affordable housing, and I did have to straighten something out with him. I used to build affordable housing for the city of Charleston all over the place. What they're missing the point is, I made a comment, there is no affordable housing anywhere on Johns Island. Then somebody said that, oh yes, there is, back off Brownswood Road. Well, they're misunderstanding things. Habitat for Humanity is a non-profit.
Right.
Churches go in there, you qualify, you get the home. Affordable housing, you pay for that home. And personally, I don't really see any affordable housing anymore. Robert was talking last night, and he says, well, $200,000 and $300,000. Well, it's cheaper than that in Mount Pleasant. And I said, I really got ripped off in the city then, because I built them and it only cost $85,000. And a lot of the time, land's taken by eminent domain, or it's granted to the Habitat for Humanity or affordable housing. I think that I could work a lot, no matter who's in county council. I like them all. But liking has nothing to do with it when it comes into politics and what's good for your constituents and what your constituents want. This is the point that most politicians are missing today. These people hired you. I don't ever want to be called a politician if I get in office this time. I want to be a public servant. Public servant, if I remember right in my history way back, that's all they were public servants. They didn't try to pack their pockets. I believe I can work with them so that I can see how it would affect my area. John Tecklenburg, he's Democrat, but he's our mayor. I walk streets and talk for John. But I think he needs to take control of what's happening in planning and zoning, city of Charleston. There's so many apartments over there right now. Go down Maybach Highway, they're clearing that land right now next to the standard apartments to build more apartments behind Cross Creek Shopping Center. Cross Creek Shopping Center there off Maybach.
Right.
The people that are living there can't get in, can't get out as it is now. And when they do, one car will hold up and let 6 or 8 cars, so traffic is backed up to the golf course.
Okay.
We've got to be smarter. We've got to be smarter in growth. We have not been. And, I've been saying that for years. I was saying it when I lived in Mount Pleasant. No one believed it. Now look at what you have. And I don't want it to turn into what old North Charleston was. North Charleston, if you remember, was growing, and it was spreading, and it turned to trash. You had empty boxes all over the place. Pine Haven Shopping Center, everything was closing down. You got into slum areas, you got crime went up and whatever. We can stop some of that right now in my district. Just control growth. I've told several of the county council members, I would like to see one house for 13 acres. Well, a lot of your developers don't see it that way because that piece of property would really cost them a lot of money. But it's the only way we're going to keep it rural. I want my grandbabies to continue to play out at the farm. I want them to be able to fish in my pond that I had cleaned out and stocked. I have cattle.
Oh, yeah.
They're learning all kinds of things. I mean, where in New York are you going to have somebody texting on the phone, Mr. O'Neal, are your cows out on River Road again? Which has happened before. It happened to Thomas LeGree the other night. He had a buffalo on the road.
Right.
But this is part of rural life that we love. Want to keep it that way. The constituents want to keep it that way. Even the people who are moving in and buying acreage wants to keep it that way. But I don't know how much longer if we don't get a control on what's happening. We got to have people screaming at zoning, planning. I can't understand why we're allowing places I can see on River Road. I call it the city side, not the side toward the airport,
Okay.
But on the city side. I'm looking at one place, and I'm naming names, the Swiggert's Landing. Man, I saw bulldozers bogged down in there. When I was a kid, and we went over there, that was swamp. So now, when a car goes in there, or a truck, the dirt is built up higher than the bed on the truck. So what's going to happen? They're going to build a house, they're going to put it in there, and when it rains and it floods, guess what's happening? You're flooding your neighbor out over there next door. That's why a lot of the people tell you right now, I never had a flooding issue ever. Other problem with that is, the county can't maintain the ditches that they have now. They haven't been able to do that in years. They just don't have the manpower or the money. Third thing, crime on Johns Island has gone through the roof. I guess you saw the other night there was, 18 or 20 break-ins in the Windsboro area.
Right.
Trailers stolen, cars stolen. There's only a couple of county police that work that district. Johns Island, Watermelon, Neggett,
Right.
Young's Island.
Right.
They can't do it. And Al Cannon will tell you, it takes money. It takes money. 3 city police cars over there, but they can't come down in the county. I want a substation built over there,
Okay.
but there's no money. So what we got to do is, once I'm in the legislature and I can see these budgets, I'm sure every district has to propose some type of budget of what they need, a wish list and a need list. Some of these pork barrel projects I've talked about can wait. We need these things immediately taken care of, immediately. They asked me what was the first thing I would do when I got in the house last night, and I said, well, believe this or not, this is just a minute point, but it's important. I propose we can use paper ballots in the event we need to. If you don't remember, that's how Trump won.
Okay.
Certainly did. But it takes the legislature to pass that, to be able to do it. 2, I want the infrastructure taken care of. I want these people to get off Edisto. I want the people to get off Meggett, Young's Island, all of our places, Watermelon, Johns Island. But I want them to get off safely. Safely. You realize if something happened to both bridges, what would happen in a catastrophic storm came like this last one did, Michael? We'd have drowned it to death. And they never got off of it. Third, we want one thing, and I've really jumped on this all 6 years. I want vocational schools again. I was told by legislators, oh, we have that, Carroll, we have that. We have tried it. I said, you got a junior college. It's too late. You have lost a student. When I started in 7th grade, just like it used to be years ago, we had Murray Vocational down here. There's a lot of successful people come out of Murray Vocational. And we need that again. We have kids that don't even know how to sew a button back on a shirt. Can't boil water without scorching it. Can't cook at all. Well, come on, parents. You got to jump in and help a little bit. School can't do everything, but it takes parents. But it takes a father and a mother. And we need this divorce rate. And I'm divorced and remarried.
Okay.
And, but thank God, my ex and I were on the same page with our children. We made sure that they got a good education, made sure that it wasn't a free ride for anyone. You work for what you got. You didn't, you might get a belt on your rear. And there's nothing wrong with that, a little swat on the behind. I'm not saying beat a child to death because I don't believe in that. But a little swat on the behind sometimes can make you attention really fast.
Well, this was interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want a side note. I reached out to Robert Brown for an interview. He's not available at this time, but he's welcome to be on Quintin's Close-Ups at any time.
Yep. Well, I want to tell you, last night Robert and I had a pretty good time.
Okay.
He actually agreed with me on several subjects
Okay.
that was there. We both sat there and laughed at some things that we heard on council last night.
Okay.
But it was and Robert and I don't sling mud. And I don't believe in that in
Okay.
politics. It has no place.
Okay.
What Robert's done 36 years ago with some woman at a party when he was drinking, I don't care, sort of like Kavanaugh. And I say, for God's sakes, don't ask me those questions. I don't care what you've done in your personal life as long as you're not a murderer or what have you. This is politics. It takes a smart mind, it takes a vision to be able to do things. And it also says, sometimes you gotta walk across the aisle because you're not the smartest cookie all the time. You might be pretty smart, but it takes unity. And that's exactly what we're all working for right now.
Carroll O'Neal, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thanks a lot. It's about time, 6 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Anytime.